Hello, hello. Happy Sunday. Okay, so I'm going to start today by just laying it out there. I am completely confused in this moment. I am so confused. Over the last hour, I've been listening to an evangelical preacher talk about the state of the world. I'm confused as to how I can feel so sad after listening to a minister of God. I listened to this interview because a friend of mine and I were going to discuss this interview. But he spoke about the government taking away our freedoms. He spoke about other states that have been set free sooner than California, which is where he lives. He talked about others who have ideologies that don't square with biblical theology. And those others have ideologies that are rooted in Marxism and, of all things, social justice. He was bothered by the division in our country and blamed things like Black Lives Matter and critical race theory. He talked about having a biblical revival in America to get back to God. And so suffice it to say, he talked a lot, but I never heard him acknowledge, in even the smallest way, his own role in creating this division that he so despises that exists in the world today. And so after I listened to this interview, I actually went and dug deeper. And I found another interview that he did. Maybe I'm crazy, I don't know. But I found this other interview that he did with someone else, not my friend who interviewed him the first time. And in that interview, I listened to him, and he and the host were railing against society's preoccupation with using proper pronouns, as if using he, she, they, them, people's preferred pronouns was somehow, the problem that exists in our world today. Now, I was raised Christian, and I'm here to tell you the fundamental rule of Christianity, as I remember it. God is love. And while he spoke of loving his country, I never felt or heard him love those that were different than him. Never, not once in any of these interviews did I hear him come from a place of love when talking about people who had differences. He only had a quest to bring about change such that everyone would believe what he believes. This is not America. In fact, it's un-American. We have this sense in America that, majority rules, and that is so wrong. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm on a rant today. I'm going to get to joy, I promise. Hang in there with me. We elect our leaders by majority, but the focus of our government and our institutions has always been to protect the least of these, to protect the minority. The minority has rights we will not take away. That's America. So I was all like in my head, like, why am I feeling so down when I just listened to a Christian preacher, right? And then I remembered what I was going to talk about tonight when I recorded my video. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to do it right now. Because again, it immediately made me smile. So as most of you probably know, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson has been in confirmation hearings this last week for her seat on the Supreme Court of the United States of America. And listening to those confirmations hearings, I remember a senator from California who is a Mexican immigrant. His parents brought him here as a child, and he's now a senator in the United States of America. He asked her a question, and it was something to the effect of, what would you say to the young people who are like you? And for those of you that don't know, Ketanji Brown Jackson is an African-American woman, and her parents grew up in a time when there were separate water fountains for coloreds and whites. So her parents grew up in a very different time. They lived through the civil rights era. And Ketanji Brown Jackson considers herself the product of the civil rights legislation that changed the world, that changed America. So that's her experience, right? Her dad was a lawyer. Her mom, I believe, was a public school teacher or something like that. So she didn't grow up poor, but she certainly wasn't wealthy. She went on to go to Harvard. And as I ramble, this was her answer to the question, what would you say to the young people? She went to Harvard, and she said at her first semester, her freshman year, when she was there. She was walking across the yard one night and really feeling in her head, like, is this the right place for me? Because there were so many, it was such a different world for her. There are all these prep school kids who come from lots of money. And I have to imagine Harvard is a difficult place for a person to be. It's very different than what she was used to. So she was questioning. We all do this, right? She didn't know if she was in the right place. And as she was walking, a woman approached her and could apparently see that Ketanji Brown Jackson was having a moment, having some doubt, whatever. And this woman, as she passed Ketanji Brown Jackson, said, persevere. And she kept walking. And so her answer to that question, what would you say to the young people, was persevere. We all have an amazing ability to touch and change people's lives every single day, and we don't know it. I wonder who that woman is. I wonder if she remembers the day that she walked by Ketanji Brown Jackson and said, persevere. And now Ketanji Brown Jackson is going to be confirmed to the Supreme Court of the United States. How did that woman change Ketanji's life in that moment? Will we ever know? Maybe not. But I'm just got to say that made me smile. And it reminded me that we together here are on a mission to understand and recognize joy. Joy exists in the most unexpected places. And we all have an amazing ability to touch and change people's lives every single day. So go out there, do it. And even in the moments when I was feeling so heavy, right, from a Christian preacher who's supposed to make me feel good, right? That's what God is love. It didn't work. But Ketanji Brown Jackson's confirmation hearing and that woman, that anonymous woman who said something, changed her world. So that's what I got. Love, love, love. Have a great week.